Hello, I'm Jennifer Bleiker, and back again to talk about anti-government individuals, groups, organizations, militia, and the growing attitude that you'll find across the country that encompasses a fundamental misunderstanding that anti-government stakeholders have about how our government works. And if you work in the public sector, this is really frustrating and obviously also somewhat dangerous. Now, today, January 27, 2016, there's examples throughout the news of such anti-government movements. In Burns, Oregon, or outside of Burns, Oregon, is a wildlife refuge, a federal wildlife refuge that's been taken over since the beginning of the month by a bunch of militiamen. Now, several have been arrested, one has been shot and killed, others are promising violence. And we can tell you what's going on in the minds of these anti-government stakeholders. Look, you might find it easiest to say they're off their rocker, that these folks are irrational, that they're extremists. Their behavior is extreme. However, we're here to tell you, on the whole, they're not off their rocker. They're quite rational. They're very intelligent. And they truly believe that the government is some oppressive entity that is domineering and violating rights. And we are here to help you. We'll use this space to help you come to the conclusion that there's much you can do. There's no easy fix, there's no quick fix, but there's a lot you can do to prevent such attitudes, reverse such attitudes, and heal the fundamental misunderstanding that these folks have about how our government works. You see, the U.S. is a self-governing society. That means the public. It's the public who determines everything the government does through our political decision-making process. We elect officials who then do the decision-making for us. There's no them, the government, and us, the public. It's only us. We call all the shots. And while this is a quite simple misunderstanding, that doesn't mean that just lecturing the public and these anti-government stakeholders is going to reverse it. You have to do much more to help them come to the conclusion that what you're doing is really reasonable and responsible. That it's them, all of us, the public, who calls all the shots. That's how our society works. But see, these anti-government stakeholders have to come to the conclusion. They have to see it with their own eyes. Oh, it's just us. Now, while it's not a quick fix, there is a lot you can do. And the first thing you can do is deepen your own understanding of the relationship between the public and the government. And while we will offer everything we can, just as we did 20 years ago to the administrator who was in that same location outside of Burns and prevented a mob using our approach, he knew very little about it, but he used what we call our Bleiker life preserver. And he turned things around. And then he showed up at our training to understand what really was going on and why this works. Why it got people to change their attitude toward that organization. And similarly for the BLM and every other level of government, you can shift this paradigm of us versus them. So first, deepen your own understanding, and you do that by, I'm going to give you 6 pieces of homework, 6 questions to answer. It's not going to take long. Look, you go and bring your car to a mechanic and do more exhaustive diagnostic work than you're willing to do on these anti-government stakeholders. Let me tell you, this is going to save you profound amounts of time, frustration. You're going to be much more effective, and you're seriously going to reduce the risk of violence if you help this paradigm shift come about in the minds of anti-government stakeholders. Now you do that by asking yourself and answering the question, number 1, who were the first movers and shakers? Who were those activists who originally persuaded the public or motivated the public to create your organization and its mission? Number 2, name names. Who were they? Number 3, what was the problem or the opportunity that they felt had to be addressed? Number 4, when? When did this happen? Was it over a short period of time, or was it over many years, many decades, that the public came to the conclusion that creating such an organization as yours was the right thing to do? Was there, number 5, was there a single event or an incident that transpired that decision to create your organization and its mission? Think back to 9/11. The TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, was created directly in response to 9/11, and it happened in very short order. That's an example of the history of that organization. What's your organization's history? What's your mission's history? And number 6, how has your mission evolved since then? Now, if you have such a deep and profound understanding of your organization's relationship to the public, how it came about, who originally motivated the political decision makers to create your organization, and you can explain it to a kindergartner, a high school student, a classroom of graduate public administrators, or even a foreign policy expert from another country, anybody, including these anti-government stakeholders, you're going to make some real progress in shifting the misunderstanding of there's us, the public, and them, the government. It's just us. And you have to remind the public and get them to conclude. Don't just lecture. Get them to conclude with their own eyes that there's just us. And that originally we, the public, created this organization to serve our needs, to address these problems and this opportunity. And if we abolish your organization today, chances are we'll just create it again in the future. Please be in touch if you have any questions. We are here to help you implement your mission, because by implementing your mission, it serves all of us. It's us, the public, who designed your organization to do what it's doing. So it serves all of us. When you do your job, you do it well, you do it responsibly, you do it efficiently. And we will do everything we can to help you do that. So thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next time.